welcome everyone to today's podcast where I have a wonderful dear friend who I met last year. We were at the Tropical Innovation Festival up in Cairns in the middle of 2024, and we were both speakers, and we just connected and we've been friends ever since. But once you start hearing this lady speak, you will know who she is because she's all over social media and the internet, not only with the release of her new book, but also she is an authority when it comes to AI. Now, there's a lot of people out there that can spout about it, but Tracy Sheen is the go-to. So I'd love to welcome Tracy to today's podcast. She is known as the Digital Guide. She is an award-winning author, media commentator, and professional speaker who has spent more than 3 decades helping small businesses embrace digital tools with confidence. And this is the difference. Tracy's been around for 3 decades. It's not just, oh, I thought I've just done a course and now I can talk about AI. So it's understanding all the background and the future trends in it. Her new book, AI and You, which I have here for my wonderful Spotify listeners on Megaphone as well as on YouTube, you've got to grab this. Reimagine Business cuts through the hype, showing leaders how to use artificial intelligence in real practical ways, from streamlining operations to creating memorable customer experiences. With a background spanning telecommunications, retail, and small business, Tracy has seen firsthand how technology shifts the way people connect. She now works with organizations across Australia to demystify AI, giving teams from the boardroom to the front line the confidence to use it every day. A full-time digital nomad. We'll have a little talk about that because Tracy's just moved in to her new van with her partner, brings a fresh perspective on how to balance technology with the human touch, something every hospitality venue needs to get right. Welcome, Tracy. It's so lovely to see you.
Thank you, Michelle. I feel like after the end of that bio, it's almost time to say and goodbye.
No, it's just really good to see you. And look, just share with my audience. So, for a lot of people, have become the nomads. Now, Tracy's certainly not a grey nomad. She's fun that she's got this
I'm a
amazing.
red nomad.
She's a red nomad, but she's also a digital nomad. So you just told me you just had possession of your new van. Whereabouts are you in Australia?
Yeah.
And a little bit of why you were doing this when it's such a amazing time in your career, in your business.
Yeah. So we literally took delivery of our new van 3 days ago. So we have been living in a 13-foot pop top van for the last 3.5 months, while we've been waiting for this new van because there's been a running gag of it's 4 to 6 weeks since
Ah,
June.
right.
And yeah, sold the house and decided to hit the road with two dogs and a cat. So I don't know if that's wise or not. So we might need to have another chat about that in another 12 months. But I was spending about 200 days of the year on the road, just
Yeah.
traveling around. And I thought, actually really like my family. I
Mm.
would rather be with them. So we decided to go all in because I speak about tech and talk about tech and live
Mm.
tech. So we thought there's no reason why we can't combine everything and have a tech enabled travel adventure.
Yes, yes. So, and Australia is such a beautiful country. There's so many places to go and see. So,
Indeed.
you'll have to put a map up behind you about all the places you've been. When you have with those pins, and everybody goes, "Oh,
Mm.
but look, let's have a chat about we're going to talk about your brand new book, but AI,
Mhm.
it is going off and has been now for the last couple of years as though it's just something brand new.
Mm.
But yourself and many others know AI has been around for decades, but it's how
Mhm.
we utilize it, removing the fear that it's going to take everybody's job because people need it. To me, it's that resource, it's also a support, it's a great tool, but it's not going to take people's jobs, particularly in hospitality, because you know what? People still like to see people. They still like to connect, but the time can be freed up by
Mm.
using
Mm.
AI. So let's start with the big picture. How do you
Mhm.
see AI reshaping how local hospitality businesses engage with their communities in the next 1 to 3 years?
Yeah, I think there's a few things here. So first of all, as you said, it's going to increase their efficiency and their
Mm,
productivity. So while we love the human element of hospitality, there's still a lot of admin that goes on in the background,
yes. Mm,
ordering, stock supplies, inventory, all of that, rostering,
mm,
day-to-day mundane stuff that you don't really kind of think of when you think hospitality, right? We think
yes.
about the amazing people behind the counters that
Mm,
are slogging away 10 hours a day or whatever, being smiling faces for us. But there's so much of that monotonous, repetitive stuff
mm,
that goes on in the background that takes away the joy from the hospitality life, to be honest.
yes.
So a lot of that can be freed up by automating and simplifying utilizing AI, which is
Mm,
fantastic, and leaning into a lot of the tech that they've already got. So,
yes.
Square devices and all that kind of stuff. It's just constantly evolving.
Mm,
And then the other thing I think from the marketing aspect of, being found as a great venue or as a venue of choice, we're
mm,
always trying to get reviews and all that type of thing. Well, we're seeing more and more now that, this hyper personalization, so being
mm,
able to be found, we can really lean in and start to leverage a lot of that with some of the tools with AI. So moving away from SEO, search engine optimization, starting to be found through the AI tools by knowing how to write to be found by
mm.
AI, using AI to help us with our social media and our marketing strategies, coming up with campaigns. There's a whole myriad of ways that that we can really lean into and get the most out of this new tech.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's about leaning in, isn't it? It's not
Mm.
being afraid of it. It's learning and it's just having a go and
Yeah.
seeing what's going to work. Tracy, you mentioned then about search engine optimization and utilizing AI. I think that's going to be certainly another whole topic for a podcast. But
Mm.
that's where marketing has really got to start considering about how other ways are we going to connect with others within our membership base, but also
Mm.
the broader community. But you've certainly given us some food for thought there. But look, let's move on. In your book, for
Mhm.
hospitality venues looking to build deeper loyalty with locals, and this is true, we've always got tourist people like yourself that are nomads traveling around, but we do rely heavily on our local community within that 5 to 10 kilometre radius. How
Mm.
can AI help personalize experiences and enhance loyalty programs without losing the human touch?
Mm. Done well, we can really start to segment and get some very, very detailed data on our client bases. And one of the things that I really love about, my local venues and my local coffee shops is they know me. So, I can walk in and there's a smile and a kind of acknowledgement, and my lactose free latte is being made without me needing to go, oh, one lactose free latte, please, and step off to the side. So, knowing that base allows you to create those deeper connections. So, whether it is providing the ability for people to text ahead their orders because they're on their way to work and they deserve to jump the queue because they are coming in every day and supporting the business, whether it's knowing it's a birthday or an anniversary or some kind of special event that they can offer additional rewards or little thank you gifts, or even down to being able to provide a, hey, I know that you've got your daughter's wedding coming up in 3 weeks. Let's create some kind of special engagement that allows the friends and family of Michelle that are visiting the area to come in and access, the unique hospitality that's on offer in
Yeah.
our region because Michelle loves this venue. So
Mm,
just by tapping into that deep knowledge of the people that we
mm,
see every day, it's not adding work to what we're already doing. It's just being smarter, leaning
mm,
in again to the tools that we've already got and going, oh, okay, that's interesting. Michelle's mentioned that she's got the wedding coming up in 3 weeks. Let's just make a note of that now. And
mm.
we're just going to, have something ready in a couple of weeks to hand off to Michelle and go, hey, here's a QR code or here's a card or a voucher or something. that she can share with everyone at the wedding
Mm.
to say, come and grab a coffee on us, or,
Yeah.
experience the local venues.
Yes, yeah, that's a great idea. And it just triggered a thought with me that over the last few days, I've been at the RSL and Services Clubs Association conference in Hobart. And it
Mm,
was interesting because, they're talking about AI, but that connectivity and putting it where you were saying, seeing who's coming into your venue each day. And it reminds me of something very funny when the internet was first coming out, and I'd be saying to them, I'm all days on the road. I've got my laptop, but oh no, we can't give away free Wi-Fi, but that is decades ago now. But
mm,
this conversation had really moved on with going, have a look around your venue and how many people are sitting there all day, on their laptop. They're having coffees, having a meal in the bistro. They might be having a snack later on. They're holding meetings there. So now they're starting to think about a few of them. Let's give them a space so they
mm.
can go in and have a
Perfect.
half hour, an hour meeting. Because, I don't know about you, but I find it really hard with those AirPods. And even the other day, I was in the airport lounge down in Tasmania, and the chap, we couldn't hear what they were saying, but he was really loud. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's hardly a private conversation. So when they started to think about these spaces, I thought, what a
Mm,
great idea
mm,
that
mm.
once again we're creating these beautiful coffee shops, and some of them are spectacular and have got some great
Stunning.
lounge
Yeah.
areas and privacy, but now actually providing them a space that they can go in to have these one-on-one Zoom calls or whatever it might be, is just taking it that to that next level, as you were saying, Tracy, about that hyper-personalisation and
Mm.
really getting
And
to know them. Mm,
And things like, we're now starting to see where you say the free Wi-Fi. Well, if they're
mm.
regulars, they get a different Wi-Fi login
Ah,
that's
yes, yeah.
secure, or that is, a faster. So if I'm a transient, if I'm a
Mm,
nomad, I can tap in and use the free Wi-Fi.
mm,
That's fine. But for Michelle, who comes in and holds her meetings or brings community to the
mm.
venue, then she has access to a different Wi-Fi that is perhaps more secure, or it's guaranteed to be faster, so she's not going to get buffering on a Zoom calls or anything like that. So
Yes, yeah.
yeah, again, there's a myriad, as you said, there's a myriad of ways that they can look around and go, okay, like that doesn't cost us anything else. We're already paying for the Wi-Fi, we're
Yes,
already
yeah.
paying for the space. Let's just put a few glass panels in, or
Mm.
whatever, and create those little pod style environments where people can do that.
Yes, yeah. I love that idea about that
Mm,
special Wi-Fi though. That's
mm,
just once
mm.
again, it's just something that makes them that little bit more special, doesn't it?
Exactly,
Yes, yeah,
exactly.
it's about the loyalty because I
Yeah,
always find it interesting, we're expecting them to be loyal to us, but how are we being loyal to them? And to me,
absolutely.
that's perfect. So AI marketing tools are often seen as expensive or overly technical. How
Mm.
can small and mid-sized venues use AI for smarter marketing, especially when targeting locals without blowing their budgets? Now, of course, there are some venues that are very large, and there's others, just the little bolo down the road, that, for some of them, they still, may have a lot of volunteers, helping out. But marketing is important. So, have you got any ideas there or tips, Tracy?
The best thing that people can do right now is really learn how to prompt. So
Mm,
prompting is simply, how do I ask the questions to get the good responses?
mm,
And it's really interesting because, I'll chat to people and they go, oh yeah, I know how to prompt. And
mm.
then I'll sit down and have a conversation with them and they go, oh,
Oh,
okay, I didn't realize that. Like, I'm only just scratching the surface.
mm,
So if you're wondering, well, what does that look like? Start having a conversation with your large language model, with your LLM, whether it's ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, whatever it is, but start talking to it like you're talking to our fellow employee or
right.
our friend.
Mm.
So I've called mine Linus because I'm a Peanuts fan. And Linus was the character that used to carry his security blanket around with him. So my chat GPT is called Linus. And every morning I start by like, hey, Linus, I'm in Canberra today and this is what I'm going to do.
Mm.
And how do you think you could help me? So I ask it, how could it help me? Right?
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm wanting to create a marketing campaign for our Bolo. We've got 12 volunteers on the thing. There's nobody that can do this full time.
Mm.
We could probably stretch to like an hour between us.
Mm.
How do you think you could help?
Yeah.
And let it come back with some suggestions and solutions
Right.
for you.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're, an association or a not-for-profit, and you have that aspect to the venue or to the club or the association that you're with,
Mm.
look at joining things like Canva, because they do have
Yeah.
free programs for
Mm.
not-for-profits,
Mm.
and then you can, create a bunch of content in, say, ChatGPT. Although again, Microsoft, doesn't really matter which platform you're
Mm.
using, export it, import it into Canva, and Canva will create 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 posts for you at one time.
Wow.
So
Gosh.
there's a lot of these things that it doesn't cost you anything extra
Mm.
other than a little bit of time
Yes.
to
Yeah.
go, okay, how else can I be using this?
Mm.
How else? What else could I be doing?
Mm.
And I joke with people and say, if you are unsure how to start quizzing the platforms, if you have young kids or you have grandkids that are, under 6, think like a toddler. But why? What else could it do? Why does it do that? Why doesn't it do that?
Mm.
If you start treating it like that, you're going to get some really, really good responses that will make you start to think,
Yeah.
okay, what else could I do? How else could
Mm.
you help me with that? Could you turn that into an email? Could you
Mm.
turn that into a newsletter? How do I create a QR code? So again, just kind of be that annoying toddler with it, and
Yeah.
you'll start to get some really good responses.
I love that. It's just, broken it down to be so simple, Tracy, in the sense of be that toddler, have that open mindset and keep
Curious.
asking. Yeah, being curious. Because I know when, a couple of years ago when ChatGPT came out, people were saying you've got to get granular. The more in depth you can. Then we had the custom GPTs, yes. And
Hmm.
then, as you're saying now, just talk to it. But I love how you start your day with Linus. That to me is fantastic. So here we are, and it makes them a part of where you are, and they start to use your voice, don't they? They become
Correct.
you.
For me, the reason I started doing that is because I think of these tools as collaborators, not competitors.
Right.
So
Yeah,
the moment
definitely.
in my mind that I gave it a voice or a persona or a personality,
Mm.
it became part of my team.
Yes. Yeah.
So then I'm developing a relationship with it, and I want it to succeed, just like I want
Mm.
any other member of my team to succeed. I'm
Yes.
going to give it the tools that it needs to do what I want it to do. So if
Mm.
I'm employing someone and it's their first day behind the bar or, on the floor, I'm going to walk them through what they need to do.
Yes.
Hey, this
Yeah.
is how we greet our clients.
Mm.
This is kind of, the tone that we use. This is, we stop, we have a bit of a chat.
Mm.
We know the local area, we do all that. So that's how we need to be talking to these systems if we really want them to sound like us,
Mm.
to give us better responses that we're not having to clean up. Anytime I hear someone say, oh, it's really beige. The responses are really vague. They're really beige. I'm like, well, that's on you. You
Yes.
need
Yeah.
to set it up for success.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I love the way that you've just put that. It's your employees' first day. And you would walk through, you would, talk about what they're wearing, you'd be, giving them the name badge. So like what you've done with Linus,
exactly.
about where to stand, how to greet people, how to farewell people, how to take orders, etc. So yeah, looking at it as a person and putting that persona on it just makes probably for many that little bit easier to have that conversation if they've got that thinking in their head. This is a team member. How
Mhm.
how do I set them up for a fantastic future and not setting them up to fail, which nobody
Absolutely.
wants. Yes.
And even
Yeah.
if down to if you have a job description
Mm.
that somebody has been employed to, give the chat GPT the file for the job description.
Yes. Yeah.
You are this person. I
Mm.
need you to think like this person.
Mm.
And that will really give it the parameters to operate in, because otherwise these things have basically been trained on the whole of the internet,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So think
Yeah.
about how many cat videos it's had to sit through. So, you need to kind of pull it back and go, okay, you don't need to worry about all of the cat videos you've thought about. I
Yes.
need you to think like
Mm.
a world-class hospitality, somebody on the floor that's doing this, or a world-class hospitality person that knows about ordering, or a sous chef or a line
Yes.
chef, or
Mm.
whatever that job description is that you're looking for the AI to
Mm.
fill.
Yes.
That's what you tell it to do.
Yeah. And you're right, it doesn't have to cost you too much money. I mean, the Chat GPT can be, there are still free versions of it. I pay for it. I know you certainly would, but
Mm.
you can still utilize it. But honestly, for the small
20
cost,
something US dollars a
it's
month.
well worth it because and
I'm
they
not going to
just
get a
keep,
team member for that.
yeah, you
I'm not going to get
can't.
a human team member for that.
No, and there's just constantly updating, and you don't have to pay superannuation. So
Very true. Very true.
and you can tell it exactly what you want it to do and turn it off when needs be. Can you?
And you know
Yeah.
what? It frees up the time for the people that you are paying the super for
Yes. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do the stuff that they actually really like doing,
Mm.
that you employed them to do, that they're good at. And
Yes.
it
Yeah.
takes all of that stuff that they roll their eyes at, drag their heels
Mm.
because they just don't like doing it, or it may not be something that they're actually, adept at.
Yes.
Get that
Yeah.
off their plate and let
Mm.
them focus on just meeting and greeting the clients, taking the orders, doing the cooking, whatever they've
Mm.
been employed to do that they were good at in the first place.
Yeah. And you're right, because, a lot of people have got are very outgoing and so love meeting people. And then when we pull them out of that role to just do paperwork or do something that they're by themselves, then they
Yeah,
find that really quite difficult because it's taking away from them something that they really enjoy, which is perhaps talking or meeting people or serving people directly. So it gives them that opportunity,
absolutely.
which is fantastic. Can you share some real world examples where AI has helped a hospitality business or tailor
Mm.
events or menus or offerings based on community food feedback or local preferences, perhaps?
Yeah, I was working with a really lovely guy in Moranbah in regional Queensland, and he owns a coffee van.
Hmm.
So he turns up every morning at 5. Well, we joke because some mornings he doesn't turn up until 6 or 6:30, but that's the nice thing about, a really local area, right? They can message him and go, Jared, you're supposed to be here. And he was, constantly turning up, and just at the start, just selling coffee,
Yeah.
right? Coffees, flavored coffees, teas, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And he was saying to me, we're sitting down and we're kind of going, he said, I don't really know what my inventory is costing me. I don't really know. So we sat down and we went through and we used ChatGPT and we exported some stuff out of Square, and we helped him then figure out, okay, how much coffee is he really going through?
Right.
What's it really costing him? Who's buying the most from him
Mm.
on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis? What are they buying? What are they asking for? And as a result of that, he then figured out that he could expand into cold brew, which he could start
Mm.
doing while he was sitting around waiting for, in between clients. So he
Yes,
started to
yes.
develop this cold brew. And then he then reached out through one of his clients, gifted a few samples, and that got him into a local hamper company.
Oh,
So now he's supplying the cold brew to the local hamper company,
gosh.
and, he's just been able to kind of develop this whole other product range
Mm.
just by spending some of the downtime where he was probably sitting around playing, I don't know, Pokemon or something.
Yeah.
And if that still happens, and use that time to kind of look through his database and go,
Yes.
hang on, Michelle's coming in 3 times a week. She always buys the same thing. And I know she does this.
Mm.
What if I start to, talk to her about some other stuff, about how we could maybe partner together or do some other
Mm.
things? So, really interesting out of the box style thinking.
Mm.
that not only helped him kind of streamline his inventory, but develop a whole other product line as well.
Yeah, it's about mining that data. With my own research company over the last three
Absolutely.
decades, I go in and I'm constantly saying to clients, you've got all this data and it's sitting there. It's an absolute gold mine. And
Yeah.
people today are very savvy. They don't want just a blast of a newsletter or a blast of the next promotion on their SMS or through their emails. They want it to be targeted to them because they want to feel special. And I think, yeah, I'm sure you would have seen, Tracy, probably, I think it started last year, maybe in the year before. I started getting emails coming up to whether it was Father's Day or Mother's Day, and it would say, if you would prefer not to receive Father's Day or Mother's Day emails, and it was from places like, large department stores or large chain operators. I thought,
Mm.
that's a good idea. So you're not going to unsubscribe from them, but I'm just not interested in that particular promotion. So
Mm.
targeting your people that are coming through the door is absolutely key. Looking at those times, and what I love about you just sitting down with that chap, it was not to say, well, how he could use AI in a flashy way or on social media. It was, let's mine your data and find out what else can you produce, but also find out about more about your customers and what they're
How
looking
can we
for.
ask better
Yes,
questions?
yeah, yeah, which is
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. So it's thinking, my listeners, about how you can utilize AI in that way. But as you said rightly, Tracy, it's the questions that you ask, it's the prompts, it's it getting to know you. Everybody's
Yes.
Linus has to get to know you.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And don't assume it's a one size fits all.
Yes,
Talking
yeah.
about the department store starting to ask you if you want to unsubscribe from certain content.
Mm.
I've got people now that are just sending me text messages or SMS.
Mm. Yeah.
I find that really invasive.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
my phone to me is, that's the line
Mm.
in the sand. Send me an email. I can choose whether I'm going to interact with that or not. But
Mm.
the moment you send me a text message, I'm out,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I'm out. I'm
Mm.
done. I'm not dealing with you because you've requested that information from me and I've given that to you under a one certain set of
Yes.
circumstances.
Mm.
And now you're starting to, you know, draw, cross that line for me.
Mm.
So being very, very aware of what is the preferred method of communication for each of your people, because some people do like text messages
Yes,
and just
yes.
aren't going to respond to emails, but don't
Mm.
don't make those assumptions. When you
Mm.
are chatting, you've got the ability that when people are in and they're waiting for a coffee or they're in at the club or, ordering a meal or whatever that is, have a QR code or ask a couple of questions that you can just be tapping in as you're taking the order. Like, oh, hey, Michelle, I noticed this is, you're always in for roast Wednesday. If we did something special, would you like to get a message via email or mobile? It's a simple button they can tick at the time, but it means that I'm not going to alienate Michelle by presuming the best way to contact her.
Yeah, I really that was a comment that we were talking about at the conference, that many were saying, oh, emails are dead because people just flick through or they'll delete or go, and so there is that push towards SMS.
Mm.
But you're right there, Tracy, because if you look in the case of membership in a registered club, and even a lot of hotels, or even we know the large hotel accommodation hotels also
Mm.
have membership, that it's that initial, do you want to be, you put your email address, your phone, do you want to be updated with blah, blah, blah? And you go, yes, but things change, don't they? 6 months down the
Absolutely.
track. But I like what you just said, that when you're at that register, if there's some sort of point where we can do a quick little update. And once again, it's respecting, because it's very easy for people just to go delete, and it's very hard to get them back because you don't know who they are.
Exactly. And you often don't know what was that final straw.
Yes,
There
yes.
might have been a few things that I've
Mm,
kind of gone, oh, that's annoying. But,
yes.
strike one, oh, that's a bit annoying. Strike two. And then, I get a text message and I've had a bad day and I'm like, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done. I am never going back there. You're done. Really interesting, talking about dealing with hotels and larger chains and things. I've had a very recent experience that is really irking me, and this is a great example of if you're going to ask for data, use it.
Mm,
So I'm part of a large combination hotel club chain and reached a certain level. So I got a congratulations, you're now at X level, blah, blah, blah. Um, we'd like to ask your preferences so the next time you
mm.
come through, we can accommodate them as best as possible. So I went through the survey, the questionnaire. Who likes a questionnaire? Like no one, really. We're all a bit over getting like fill in this survey. But I went through because I went, okay, well, I've reached a certain level. Obviously, now invested with this brand,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to go through. I'm going to say, I want this. I don't like this. My amenities gift when I arrive. I don't. I'm traveling solo. Don't give me a bottle of wine. I'm not going to get through
Yes.
a full bottle of
Yes.
wine in a
Yeah.
night. I'd
Think.
rather extra spring water. I'd
Mm,
rather these things. Tick, 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 tick. That was 2 months ago. Every time I have turned up to one of their locations since, I've been given either a bottle of sparkling wine or a bottle of red. I never get any water,
mm,
and none of the other things that they had asked me to complete have ever been met. And I'm
mm.
like, why ask me then? Because
Yes.
that's just what are they doing with that data? Because
Yeah.
clearly they're not tapping in
Mm,
and using it. So
no.
if you are going to invest in investigating your clientele, don't dishonor them by then ignoring it.
And you're right, to me, you've taken time out to fill out that survey, which you really didn't want to do anyway, but you thought, oh well, this is going to ensure that I do get the extra mineral water. Because when you do rock up there and you go, I don't drink red or or sparkling wine, then to ask for the mineral water, sometimes it's like an absolute burden to them, like, oh, well,
Absolutely.
and you think, well, but the similar thing had happened to my daughter, who, is high on the highest level at one of the big makeup, global brands. And I donate to that too, because I'm always getting, I always, oh, put onto her account so she gets the points. But she's got extremely sensitive skin. Now, she's been part of this program for many, many years. And every time it comes up to this gift, it's always just, it's not related to her skin. It's related
Mm,
to anything. It's like, well, what's the new butte thing that they want you to buy?
exactly.
But in the last few months, because we kept saying this and saying to them, why don't, every time we get it, like, why don't you look at who's on your market? Have they got sensitive skin, oily skin? What is it?
Mm,
Old person
mm.
skin? What is it? And last month, we actually got a gift, and there was two choices, one for sensitive skin and one for normal skin. I thought, oh, hallelujah. At
Ah,
last, they were realizing that if you want somebody who's spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on their skin, they don't want a
yeah,
product that doesn't suit them. Give them a product that's going to suit them, that they're going to have to pay even more money for because you've thought about it.
exactly.
And it's that hyper-personalization. Um,
Exactly.
and even though you're committed to that hotel chain, and I know who we are because you shouted me breakfast once with them, and I've had my own issues with them. The fact is, you'll get to a point where if they're not going to listen to me, is it really worth being a member?
Mm, absolutely. Well,
Because there's
I've
a lot of
already
other
started
hotel
to.
chains out there.
That's exactly right. I've already started to spend nights at
Yeah.
another chain because
Mm.
I'm starting to go, well, why am I continuing with my loyalty
Mm.
when that's not being responded to?
Yes, yeah, and which is really just, and we've got to think about that. When we're asking for feedback, what are we actually doing with it? And I know, a lot of, as I said last weekend, it was my daughter's hens party. So, you get the survey from the boat company, survey from the catering company, survey from the cake lady, and one from the restaurant. Now, each one I responded to immediately wrote back to me thanking, oh, and where we were staying at Airbnb, immediately wrote back saying thank you so much, but a really genuine, not, could you share this on Google? Which I
Mm,
think, well, really, just copy and paste it yourself. That's what I feel like saying. But
mm,
these were
mm.
really genuine, like emailed straight back to me. Oh, we really appreciate it. And I thought,
Nice.
now I don't mind doing a survey for you. I'm going to promote you. I've talked about them in this week's newsletter. I've talked about them
Mm,
on YouTube. Like, if you acknowledge what I've done to help you, which you asked me for, then I'm happy because at
Yep,
least I feel like I'm not just a number. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. Yeah. And
mm,
there's a lot of lessons for, smaller hospitality chains and smaller brands because we do have that ability to pivot and move
mm,
with the requirements of our clients far quicker than the global brands. And if we
mm,
can see that this stuff is annoying clients in the global brands, we've
mm.
got an opportunity to take a real slice out of their market
Yes, yes.
by just actually
Mm,
doing the things that we say we're going to do.
mm. So
It's
AI,
not hard. Do what
no.
you say you're going to do.
Yeah, that's right. Just do it. And that's where AI could certainly assist, couldn't it? By getting that
Absolutely.
information and connecting it and putting it through the program and then letting it out there. So it's not somebody typing it into an Excel spreadsheet and sending it to every location around Australia or around the world. That's where AI comes in, something so simple within a matter of seconds.
Absolutely. And I think, that's the thing that comes down to that stuff doesn't again need to cost a lot of money.
Mm.
What it costs initially is a bit of time and
Yes.
a bit of curiosity. What
Mm.
are we looking for? What's going to add value here? And, you mentioned the book earlier. The first step in my framework is
Mm.
relationships. Because
Yes.
the AI is nothing if you don't have good relationships. And
No,
that's
it isn't.
internally with your team,
Mm.
it's with your clients, it's with your suppliers. So if you've got these tools now, it's incumbent upon you to develop those relationships,
Yes.
to develop your technology
Mm.
alongside with what your people are telling you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if your clients are saying something to you, take that to heart
Yes. Yeah.
and
Actually,
then figure
listen.
out how am I going to get the tech to respond to
Yes.
that.
Yeah. By doing that. Uh, I'd like to just shift the conversation for a moment because we've heard for a long time, this fear about AI is certainly here and it's here to stay. We're going to lose jobs. We're going to lose that. And then that was the first few months. Now we're saying here, well, wait on, it's going to create jobs that we never even heard of before. So how do we allay that fear? Can you share, when it comes to team dynamics and this shift towards AI, how can hospitality leaders ensure their teams see AI as a helpful tool and not a threat and use it to enhance team performance and guest interaction? Because remembering, we've got four generations serving, behind the counter, so to speak, and six
Yeah.
generations in front of us. So it is allaying that fear because, I think a lot of people did get very concerned about, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my job. So any
Mm,
thoughts?
mm. I was at a summit yesterday in Canberra that I was speaking that had a lot of event organizers. And it was a really interesting kind of room of people to be talking to about AI and
Mm,
decoding what was going on because some of them were in clubs, some of them
mhm,
were in hotels, they
mm,
were managing event spaces, they were trying to figure out how to build relationships and bring those people in.
mm,
And I think the really interesting thing was a couple of things. One, there was still a lot of hesitation to use AI because
oh, okay.
they work on the relationships.
Yes.
And I said to them, okay, but how much time are you spending
Mm,
in the paperwork and the doing
mm,
instead of you actually being on the phone or being in front of the people following up and making
yes.
sure, that you're pursuing or progressing those conversations?
Mm,
And, they kind of went, oh, okay, fair point. So then we talked about creating some things in the background that could automate those processes that would then allow Michelle to go, oh, okay, here's the people I need to follow
mm,
up with today and why.
yes.
And here are the new leads, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm,
But the ultimate conversation came down to it's not the technology that's going to take Michelle's job. It's Michelle going, I don't want to do this,
yes.
that's going to
Mm,
take Michelle's job.
yes.
So,
Mm,
for those of us that are curious now and going, geez, I wonder how I could streamline this process a bit so I could make one more call a day, or
Yes.
I could check in with
Mm,
one client from 12 months ago to see where they're at and
mm,
are they looking at doing another event this year, or,
mm,
do they know anyone else that they could recommend us to?
mm.
And when we start to think like that, that's the moment that we can go, okay, now the AI is a collaborator, not a competitor. It's not
Yes.
out for my job. It's
Mm,
out to help me become more efficient and more productive
mm.
at the stuff that I actually like doing, being in
Yes.
front of people,
Yes.
talking to people.
Mm.
Hospitality people aren't in hospitality because they're wallflowers. They're
No.
in hospitality because they're bloody amazing at
Mm.
dealing with humans. So don't stick them behind a computer.
Yes.
Minimize that stuff,
Yes.
let
Yes.
them shine,
Mm,
but let them see and let them be a part of designing and implementing and leveraging the technology
mm.
to ensure that it's not creating additional work for them, and to
Yes.
ensure that it is, in fact, um, amplifying their voice and their connection.
Mm.
And that's where I think the big difference is. Once we sit down and we listen to the relationships and we listen to our people and we hear what it is that they're concerned about,
Yes. Yes.
then those concerns are often really valid. The
Mm.
concerns are that they don't want the tech to sound beige.
Mm.
Awesome. Let's make sure it doesn't. Let's
Yes.
get a pilot to make sure
Mm.
that, our beta group of our most valued clients are actually in on the design of the next thing we're going to do. So
Yes. Yeah.
we're taking their feedback and baking that in from the get-go.
Mm.
Let's make sure that we're not creating additional work for, Joanne in HR or George in finance, because this is going to create two extra steps. We'll get them around the table and make sure
Yes.
that
Yes.
we're building that feedback in from the get-go. So
Mm.
I think it's really important right now, because we do have that time still,
Yes.
to make sure that we are starting from the right point. And that's starting with everybody around the table and
Mm.
looking at, okay, if we do this one thing, what's the knock-on effect? How is that going to
Yes.
affect our clients? How's
True.
that going to affect our team? How's that
Mm.
going to affect our suppliers? Is there something our clients are saying to us that, like, good grief, this is driving me batty? Can
Mm.
we just fix this one thing? If I
Yes.
come in every night and you ask me to scan my card to
Mm.
go in the members drawer, but
Mm.
every second night I come in, the card scanner is not working.
Yes.
Like, just fix those things first.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. The simple little things, but the things that drive people uh, to the point of, I'm not going to come back. And then we lose them
Absolutely.
because it's things that
Absolutely.
it can be fixed quite easily. You kindly mentioned to us about a couple of programs, including Canva, where you could put the information in and then it creates these 50 tiles, etc. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people assume that AI is going to be very costly and therefore are fearful of spending that money and not getting, a return on it. And ROI is so
Mm,
important.
mm.
What's your advice for hospitality owners or managers when it comes to choosing the right tools? What should they prioritize, do you feel?
I think about this like, I grew up near the beach, right? Now, bear with me because this is going somewhere. But when we were really little, and even now, there are flags on our beaches.
Mm,
And the flags represent the safe spot that we can enter the water and enjoy the surf.
mm,
Outside those flags are the areas that have rips or strong undercurrents.
mm.
That's how I want people to think about AI. I want you to sit back, look at your business, and look for the safe place that you can enter
Mm.
without being dragged out to sea and bobbing your head up in 3 months' time and going, we've just dropped tens of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars on this thing, and I have
Mm.
no idea how to get back. And what are we doing?
Yes.
So sometimes it is better to sit and watch what's going on
Mm.
and picking something that's a trend over going, oh, this is trendy and everybody's talking about it, and I'm going to leap straight in.
Yes. Mm.
So the big conversations are for you to have with your people. Find the thing that is driving them bonkers. There
Yes.
is always something. It's that repetitive thing
Mm.
that's taking time out of their day that they're doing over and over and over and over and over again that
Mm.
makes them want to stab themselves in the eye with a fork. And it could be, I know that's a bit dramatic, isn't it?
It's all right. I
It
think
could
everybody uses that every week on my podcast.
um, and it could be, that they're constantly answering the same thing from a client. It
Yes.
could be,
Mm.
a supplier thing, whatever it is, but that's the place you want to start.
Mm.
Because if that thing can get resolved, then you can breathe a sigh of relief and you can look to the next thing. Now, I know a lot of hospitality venues that I work with, one of the things that drives them batty is policies and procedures.
Mm. Yes.
Start of day, end of day,
Mm.
change of shift, like what does that look like? There's a couple of really great tools that are not expensive to use. One of them is called Guide with a double D, Giudde, because tech bros can never spell anything the way that it's meant to. And the other one is Tango, like the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both of those, same, different. They are designed to record your screen. So you go through a process once or a how to or an induction or whatever once, and then it will turn that into a step by step guide, or procedure, policy, how to guide, demonstration, whatever for you, which means that you can then store it in a way that your team or your clients or your suppliers are going to utilize. So if I
Mm.
like to read stuff, it's given it to me in a step-by-step guide. If I like to listen to stuff, I can listen to the walkthrough of it. If I like to watch it, I can watch the walkthrough of it.
Great.
But the other thing is it's multilingual. Now, I know a lot of the
Ah.
hospitality people I deal with,
Mm.
particularly in regional areas,
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
dealing a lot with international backpackers. English
Certainly
is not
are.
first language.
Mm.
So to then be able to go, okay, well, now I convert this into French, into German, into
Mm.
Portuguese, into Spanish, into whatever. And they are going to be able to go, okay, I got it, because it's not
Mm.
the nuance of the language that's taking you the time now. You are meeting them on their level.
Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of tools like that, I know
Mm.
policies, procedures, that kind of stuff, we've got to have them,
Mm.
but they drive people batty to create,
Yes.
and they drive your staff even battier
Mm.
to try and figure out what you mean by that. So simple
Yes. Yeah.
tools like that that don't cost a lot.
Mm.
Um, and you may only need to subscribe to them for a couple of months to get your entire policy procedure, you know,
Yes.
guide back up to
Mm.
date, and then you ditch it.
Mm. And what I,
So where
yeah.
possible, don't sign up for stuff annually now
Yes. Yeah.
because things are changing so quickly. If you can subscribe month to month, that can also mean that you go, okay, for this next 90 days, our 90-day sprint is we're going to fix all of our policies and procedures.
Yes, yeah. I love that idea because you're right. We give them quite a large handbook with all the policy and procedures, and it's fine, but nobody even reads the darn thing. But we need them because we've got legislation, but also we want consistency, and that's what policies and procedures
Absolutely.
drive. So having that, yeah, I will certainly put the links in the show notes. I really appreciate that, Trace, because it's just something simple that I'm sure they haven't heard of that can alleviate a lot of the stress, a lot of repetition, but also having it to be multilingual is fantastic because you're right. We do have a number of people, in the hospitality industry. They're traveling around the world, whether they're in rural or in the city areas of Australia. And it is a little bit hard. So if they can listen to something in their own language, it just makes it that little bit more easier.
Yeah. So what I've seen in a number of the venues now, they just have a little QR code
Mm,
behind the bar,
yes.
or and you scan your QR code with your phone, up comes the procedure, and
Mm,
I can watch it step by step in French or
yes.
whatever I need to do.
Mm.
And I go through and I tick my stuff off to say that it's done for the day.
Yeah. And it also saves mistakes being made, but also being asked, like being a leader, being asked, is this the right way I do it? And I always say, well, there
Exactly.
must be, you must have a policy procedure, have a checklist, put it there. But having something like that, and they all carry you have just lit up a light globe. Thank you, Tracy. I
You
think,
are very welcome. Because guess what, Michelle? The other thing is if I've scanned it and I've watched it, then as the person that's created it, I can see how many times that's been watched.
yes,
So also from a OH&S or a
yeah,
HR point of view, I can go,
mm,
hey, Michelle, help me understand why you didn't
yes,
follow the checklist last night. Is
mm,
there anything going on? Is it, does it not do what you need it to do? Is there something we
mm,
can do to make it better for you? But yeah,
yes,
I'm now starting to get very standardized. So
mm,
if I get audited or anything comes in, I can go, look, I can show you exactly. Here's my team. They've
yes,
scanned
yeah.
it. I know exactly what's been going on.
So you've got that sandbox of information behind the scenes,
Correct.
particularly for performance management, which is
Correct.
fantastic. Look, before we finish off, just a couple of things. There is that fear that AI is going to reduce the connection, and as you and I know, we'd love to have a chat. And connection with people is so very important. How do we use AI to enhance the customer experience rather than create distance in an industry that thrives on personal touch? Now, we've talked about that hyper personalization. Also, as you suggested, coming through and making sure the equipment works. Is there other ways that AI can assist in not well in the hospitality industry, but even outside the hospitality industry, which really connects that people, making them feel good, making them not just feel like a number? Any thoughts?
There's a couple of really great programs that you can use. Again, not terribly expensive, and I'm not suggesting everybody needs to do all of them. Again, look
Mm,
for your low-hanging fruit. What's the thing that's going to give you the
mm.
quickest win, right? Um, there's Google have a program called Notebook
Oh,
LM, which
yes.
is free to
Mm.
use. Now, one of the things I love about Notebook LM is that I can take a page from my website, pop it into Notebook LM, and then I can create a two-person podcast off
Yes,
that
I've done that.
page. It can also give me frequently asked questions and it
Mm,
can give me a video. Now, why is that important? Because you have clients that are visiting your locations where accessibility is a concern.
mm,
So if you have elderly people, their eyesight not may not be great,
mm, mm.
but give them the ability on your website to go, click here to listen to the page, click here
Yes.
for the information, click here to watch a
Mm,
video. Just want a
mm.
frequently asked question? Do you want that in a different language?
Yes. Yeah.
That is all really easy stuff. Again,
Mm.
Notebook doesn't cost you a thing, it costs you a bit of time.
Yes. Yeah.
So going through, and the other thing that's going to do is that's going to help you with your AI reach in terms of
Mm,
this SEO versus GEO. So SEO, search engine optimization, that's what we've been used to doing in the past.
mm.
GEO, generative engine optimization, that's starting to write or do things that the AI is looking for. And if you
Right.
notice, if you've been Googling anything lately, the first thing that comes up now is the AI overview.
Yes.
So that will help you be found by the AI agents because it loves frequently asked questions. It
Right.
loves the comparison table. So doing things like that, thinking about again, who are you serving? Who are
Yes.
your people? And
Mm.
how can you make their life easier?
Yes.
Right. So if I'm in an RSL, an RSM, a bolo, a golf club, something like that, and I know my average age of my visitors is, I don't know, 75, I might also know that they prefer now to listen to stuff. So
Yes.
meet
Mm.
your people where they are. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You just need to start thinking about how can I make their life easier
Mm.
because they're making my life easier every day by
Yes.
coming in and spending money and, being loyal to the venue.
Being loyal to the venue, and they being loyal to the guests. So this
Yes,
is your book.
it
Tell us,
is.
as we start to wrap up, because as I said, I'm going to have you back to be talking about that SEO, because that's, and then the geo, that's very, very, very interesting. How can they get this book? How can they connect with you, Tracy?
So tracysheen.com, ainu.com. It's also on Amazon at any good bookstore. And if it's not at your bookstore, it's not a good bookstore. So ask them to get it in. Um, Basically wherever good books are sold.
Yes, yeah. Look, it's a fantastic book. And what I love, it's an easy read in the sense that you've got it broken up into, really subtitles, which is fantastic. There's points on what to do. I've read halfway through it, then I'd skip back here, then I'd come back here. I love it. It's fantastic. So
Thank you.
I will also put links in the show notes for that.
Thank you.
Can they connect with you through social media or LinkedIn?
Yeah,
What's the best way, Tracy?
LinkedIn's probably the easiest. Facebook, I mean, seriously, put up a bat signal. I'm pretty much everywhere these days. So reach out to Michelle. She'll put you in direct contact with me.
I will certainly, but I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today, Tracy, and I know my listeners will gain so much from you. And really, I know, I've written down some notes here myself about thinking how else can we use AI, but better, how else can we use AI the right way to get what we need, which is important.
Yeah. Get your people at the table, start
Mm,
getting curious, get everyone
yes.
involved, leave no
Mm,
one behind.
perfect. Thank you so much. Take care.
Have a great day. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.